Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's healing subscription. So, today we are looking at some DNA activation. The approach that I'm following is a command-based or command-driven technique that speaks directly to the DNA and to the deeper parts of the being. So it will be probably a little bit more of a louder one. I have done all of the dowsing beforehand to see what we need to work on today. So all that I'm going to do on the recording today is really run through all of the commands. I've done all of the other work that we would normally do beforehand. I've already done. And all the work that we will do afterwards, I will do off camera. So for today's session, I'm only really wanting to get the commands going through because that's what I want you to listen to and to soak up and absorb. And maybe there'll be a few questions along the way. So let's get going. I'll share a screen with you so that we've got our focus for today. So have a look at this light code for today. And today is the 1010 portal. So this is really about a good alignment as well, getting yourself aligned with the energies. And I decided to have a different light code for us today to focus. So this is your tune in for today. So use this opportunity to tune into what it is that you want to manifest, what it is that you want to create in your life, what you would like to let go of, what no longer serves. And you can take this in any direction. So you could look at things that you want to release as well as things that you would like to receive, things that you want to send out into the world. It doesn't matter. So just bring all of those intentions in that you would like to focus on in today's session, whatever that may be for you. Perhaps create a goal or a statement that you can use, that you can refer back to. That would be your intention for today's session. Allow your eyes to trace the light code, or maybe just rest on certain parts. Perhaps your eyes are drawn to a certain area. And you may pause the recording if you need more time. As I dowsed through and checked in with the energies, the emotion that came up in relation to your goal or your intention for today is meek, and it's in relation to knowledge. So, what does that mean for you? What does meek in relation to knowledge mean for you? Meek is being quiet or gentle, could be submissive. So, where do you feel that your knowledge is maybe quiet or gentle? Do you feel that you do not have enough knowledge to pursue whatever it is that you're wanting to manifest or bring into your life? And the dimension here is secondary gain. So secondary gain is the excuses that we have. So what excuses do you get from feeling meek in relation to knowledge? So just as an example, I've always felt that I couldn't step up and talk to groups and things like that because I felt that I didn't have enough knowledge. So my excuse was I can't speak to the groups. And so that gave me the excuse to not speak to groups. So to live a nice solitary life hidden away from the groups and the networking. But when I really tune into it, my work and my purpose, my goal, and my destiny in this life is really to work with groups and to work with people. So the secondary gain was there, a way to not step up, a way to not be seen, a way to not move to my next level. And so sometimes these excuses are very clever in the way that they hide themselves. So this is your time to be completely, totally open and honest about what meek in relation to knowledge means for you and what are your excuses in relation to that. When I then check into the sabotage or the excuse or the shadow belief, what comes up is I am optimistic or I am not optimistic. So how does this relate to your goal or your intention? Are you optimistic that you can do it? Or are you not optimistic? Or perhaps you're sitting on the fence. Perhaps a part of you believes that you can, and another part of you believes you cannot. Then the emotion that sits with this, I am optimistic, I'm not optimistic, is occupation, and it's in relation to nurturing. So occupation in relation to nurturing. So occupation could be your job or your profession, or it could be the way that you spend your time. Do you spend your time nurturing? And who are you nurturing? Are you nurturing yourself or are you nurturing others? Is your job to do with nurturing? And again, is it about nurturing yourself or nurturing others? How does occupation in relation to nurturing tie in with I am optimistic, I am not optimistic? When I checked a little bit deeper about what is holding us back in relation to the goal, we have a belief or a feeling that, or a struggle perhaps, that you feel that you don't have energy to meet your goals. It's like you can't sustain your movement or your direction towards your goal. Perhaps it feels that your goal is a bit too much of a challenge. It feels like it's a bit too much of a struggle. Or perhaps it's just a belief. It may not be true, but you may believe that it's a struggle to get there or a struggle to even maintain control. And there is also a question around completing the goal. There's perhaps a question in your mind like, can I reach that? Can I get there? But we're not going to spend too much time on those. Those are just things I test beforehand to see where we're all sitting. So then when I tune into our negative archetype that we need to be working with today and that we want to clear, we have the miser. And so the miser is all about hoarding, and this could be hoarding of emotions, it could be hoarding of money, it could be hoarding of things, it could be hoarding of information even. And there's usually an obsessive fear of losing whatever it is that you're hoarding. So if it is emotions, there's a fear of losing the emotions. If it's physical things, it's an obsession around losing your physical possessions. Obsessive fear of losing wealth or money or whatever it may be that you are hoarding, knowledge, information. How does this relate to your goal and what it is that you want to achieve? Our balancing archetype that we want to get to or that we want to introduce is the eternal boy or girl or the eternal child. And this is all about remaining young in body, mind, and spirit. And it's about our ability to see everything with fresh new eyes. So every opportunity, every situation, everything is brand new. How can we get that new ability back into our lives, our ability to see everything fresh and new? And so with all of this information, we are going to dive into our commands for the DNA. And all that you really have to do is to sit back and listen to the commands. You don't really have to do anything until I tell you to do anything. But for all you have to do is just sit and listen, allow the commands to wash over you. And that is it. Know that I've done the work beforehand that needs to be done with this, and I'm doing some more work after the recording is done that needs to be done in relation to this. So all we need now is for your bodies and your minds and your brains to receive the particular commands that we are going to introduce to it. I will give a little bit of background with each of our corrections or commands that we are doing as we're progressing with that. So let's move to our first one. So our first activation that we're working with is about installing a new paradigm. And this new paradigm is called the state of love at 0 point. And this is all about getting, it's one of those things that we can't really reprogram our DNA unless we are in the state of love. So whenever there's something new that we want to introduce, a new way of being, a new approach to life, perhaps a new balance that you want to bring in, perhaps a new, um, like anything, like if you wanted to, I'm trying to think of an example now. My brain's not really working. I'm in work mode already. Let's say you want to introduce a new diet or a new way of life or a new skill. We can't do that unless you are in a state of love. If you are in that state of love, you can do that in a very well balanced way. When you are in a state of love, you can think and be in a new way. And so you can approach life's challenges in a new way as well. So this is what this whole correction or installation or activation is all about. Okay, so close your eyes and take a nice slow deep breath. Allow this activation to just wash over you and be like a sponge. We choose to be at 0 point, even if we don't know how to. I command that the crystalline structure be installed in the left frontal lobe of the brain to anchor the new state of love paradigm. I command that both hemispheres of the brain balance themselves in accordance with this crystalline structure. I command that this new program be installed in the nucleus of the master cell of the pineal gland in all lives and all dimensions. I command that from the pineal gland, this program reaches all of the helixes, chakras, etheric bodies, and the soul. I command the RNA to support and reconnect itself to this new program. I command the codons to return to the order of perfect original program, even if there has been an inversion of codes. I command the speed of the photons and the structure of the DNA spiral to adjust themselves. I command that the connection within the corpus callosum of the brain be restored according to the original divine plan of the person's DNA. I command the perfect integrity of the telomere and telomeres. I command that any residues from old programs be eliminated through the appropriate systems. I command that this program be perfectly sealed. I command that the macabre be perfectly sealed. I command that no radiation affect the DNA or RNA. I command that the new program be installed completely and until further notice in the brainstem here and now. I command that the reconnection of this new program be perfectly tolerated and integrated, and that this occurs at 0 point. I command that the power, the harmony, and the purity of this new program be installed in the DNA and be perfectly activated. I command that this reprogramming be tolerated and integrated according to the original divine plan in the frequency of love, even if our helices have been deactivated in the past. I command this regeneration be completely sealed until further notice from each and every one of you. Take a deep breath in and hold. Allow it to crystalline and exhale. Another deep breath in and hold. Allow the activation to crystallize. And exhale. And there's 3 questions that comes up. And I'm going to allow you to take your own time to answer these questions for yourself. So perhaps you want to make these questions that you want to bring into your journal, or something that you want to work a little bit deeper with. One question was, what sensations do you feel in your body? So during the activation, did you feel any sensations? Now, as you scan through your body, do you feel any sensations in your body? What are those? Next question is about forgiveness. This is about, who do you need to forgive? Is this perhaps yourself or others? Is there a forgiveness ritual or practice that you currently have that you can use? Or perhaps you want to work with someone who can help you with forgiveness. And finally, what are the unintended consequences? This is positive and negative, of reaching your goal. So when you reach your goal, what's the absolute best thing that could happen? What's the absolute worst thing that could happen? And what sits in between? If we question around that, we usually find some interesting answers. Moving on to our next activation. Our next activation is called the transmutation at 0 point. And this particular activation is all about the mitochondria in the cells. Mitochondria are the only parts of our cells that actually have their own DNA, because each cell has its own DNA. But within the cell, we've got mitochondria, and the mitochondria also have their own DNA. Mitochondria are the powerhouses of our cells. The parts of the cells that generate or produce or that make energy, like our batteries. And what they do is they transmute food and nutrients and water and things like that into energy that they can then share with the cell, which then ultimately is shared with the rest of the body. But research has shown that the mitochondria also uses electromagnetic energies, and it can convert those into energy as well. So it does not necessarily need to receive energy from, it does not necessarily need to receive anything from food or water or any nourishment, external nourishment. And so this is how many yogis and breatharians can go without food for long periods of time, because the mitochondria is using other things to convert into energy other than food. And so this activation is all about activating our mitochondria to be able to receive energy from other sources other than food. So this is about transmuting, it could be any negative charges, it could be emotions or illness or issues, into nourishment. It could be about using electromagnetic, magnetic, electric energies that we have around, things that may be positive or negative to us usually, and basically helping our mitochondria to digest these. And so it's all about recycling and composting any rubbish or any heavy, dense frequencies and energies into pure, clean energy that our body can use. Now, there will be a little bit of homework for you. I asked to check how we can maintain this. And what came up was visualization at 0 point. And so perhaps on a daily basis, perhaps maybe even if it's just once a week, just see what works for you. If you can spend some time to visualize how your mitochondria take negative emotions, illnesses, issues, conditions, energies, and how they pull in those frequencies and how they convert or transmute those frequencies into pure, clean energy that can energize the cell and ultimately the entire body and the entire being. So this is quite a potent activation, and you have some work to do afterwards. So do your visualizations. While we are busy with the activation, as always, you're going to be sitting with your eyes closed and you're just going to soak it up. I want you to also pay attention to any image that you may receive. So the image that you may receive is anything. I'm not going to tell you what that is. You need to see what that is, because the image that you receive is something that you can use in your visualization. You're also encouraged to connect to your body while we do this activation. So see how you connect with your body. Perhaps you feel sensations within the body and so. And we've activated the quality of love in the previous activation. So bring that quality of love into this activation as well. So close your eyes and be like a sponge. And let's soak up this activation. We choose to be at 0 point, even if we don't know how. I command that this new program be installed in the nucleus of the master cell of the pineal gland in all lives and all dimensions. I command that from the pineal gland, this program reach the endocrine glands. I command the RNA to reconnect itself and support this new program. I command the codons to return to the order of perfect original program, even though codes may have been reversed. I command the speed of the photons and the structure of the DNA spiral to adjust themselves. I command that the connection within the callous matter of the brain be restored according to the original divine plan. I command the perfect integrity of the telomere and telomeres. I command that any residues from all programs be eliminated or put at 0 point through the appropriate systems. I command that this program be perfectly sealed. I command that the macabre be perfectly sealed. I command that no radiation affect the DNA or RNA. I command that this new program be installed completely and until further notice in the brainstem here and now. I command that this reprogramming process be perfectly tolerated, perfectly integrated, and at 0 point. I command that the power, the harmony, and the purity of this new program be installed in the DNA and that it be completely activated. I command that this new program be tolerated and integrated according to the original divine plan in the frequency of love, even if our helices have been deactivated in the past. I command that this regeneration be complete and sealed until further notice from each person involved. Take a deep breath in and hold to crystallize. Exhale. Take another deep breath in and hold to crystallize. And exhale. We have the final activation for today's session. And our emotion that comes up for this particular one is courageousness, and it's in relation to friends. I think I may have skipped the emotions with the previous one, so I'll have to check that up for you. Courageousness in relation to friends. So where are you brave in relation to friends? Okay. So this activation that we're going to be working with now is about integrating the positive polarity. So what you may notice is that throughout life, doesn't matter how happy or joyful we are, throughout life, there are always situations that trigger us. It could be people or situations or events. And so how easy and quick it is to go from a space of joy and happiness to a space of misery and emotional turmoil because something or someone triggered us. And so the negative situations in our life tend to have a very strong charge to it. And that charge pulls us in and draws us in very quickly. And so this activation is to help us to receive more from our positive experiences. And also for us to see the positive within any situation. So it doesn't matter how negative or heavy the situation is, that we'll be able to see the positive within that. Because no matter what situations come across, there will always be something positive that we can draw from. There's a lesson or an experience or some form of growth that comes from that. And so when something negative or upsetting or triggering happens, that we're not drawn in or pulled in by that negativity, but instead we are bringing our focus and our awareness to the positive aspects of this so that we may receive those positive experiences. And so as such, we stay in a state of positivity for a lot longer. So while we are busy with this activation, questions that you can focus on, or perhaps you want to journal about these later on, is where does fear hold you back? So when we look at ancient maps of the world, wherever there was unexplored territory, they would mark those territories, and especially in the ocean, with images of dragons. And the dragon was a symbolic image of we haven't explored here yet. And so some explorers or some people, sailors, would look at this map and see the dragon and go, I'm not going into that area, there's a dragon there. While others looked at the map and sought out the dragons. And when they saw the dragon, they would go, no one's been here before. I want to go see what dragons are there. And so, where can we slay our dragons? Where is fear holding you back? Where can you let go of the fear? Where can you step into that fear? So, focus on that perhaps. Perhaps you want to journal a little bit about that. Another question is, what do you have at stake? What do you have at stake? What do you have to lose? And the story that goes with this is some fishing company. It's a company that sold frozen fish or something like that. And they found that they had all of these fish in big tanks, and then they would package it and send it out into the world. But they felt that the fish tasted flat or bland. And they were trying to find a way to get the freshness or the flavor back into the fish. And so when they brainstormed about it, one person suggested, well, why don't we put a predator within the tank? Because out in the sea, the fish are always on the lookout for predators. And so the fish in the tank now had something at stake, where before they were just sort of lounging around and didn't really have to worry about anything. Now they had a predator to watch out for, and that made them taste better. I'll take it from the story. I don't eat fish, but we'll take it from the story. But the question here is, what do you have at stake? At stake, what do you have to lose? And one final question: how would you feel if the goal you're moving towards have been reached? Or how would you feel when you reach your goal? So get into that feeling of that. So let's close your eyes, be like a sponge, and allow this command lines to wash over you. We choose to be at 0 point, even if we don't know how. I command that this new program be installed in the nucleus of the master cell of the pineal gland in all lives and all dimensions. I command that from the pineal gland, this program reach the brain, the nervous systems, and the peptides. I command the RNA to support and reconnect itself to this new program. I command the codons to return to the order of perfect original program, even if there has been an inversion of codes. I command the speed of the photons and the structure of the DNA spiral to adjust themselves. I command that the connection within the corpus callosum of the brain be restored according to the original divine plan. I command the perfect integrity of the telomere and telomerase. I command that any residues from old programs be eliminated through the appropriate systems. I command that this program be perfectly sealed. I command that the macabre be perfectly sealed. I command that no radiation affect the DNA or RNA. I command that this new program be installed completely and until further notice in the brainstem here and now. I command that the reconnection of this new program be perfectly tolerated and integrated, and that this occurs at 0 point. I command that the power, the harmony, and the purity of this new program be installed in the DNA and be perfectly activated. I command that this reprogramming be tolerated and integrated according to the original divine plan in the frequency of love, even if our helixes have been deactivated in the past. I command that the regeneration be complete and sealed until further notice from everyone here involved. Take a deep breath in and hold to crystallize. Exhale. Inhale again, nice and deep. And exhale. I checked to see if an Aura Soma bottle was appropriate for today's session. And the bottle that indicated was balance or bottle number 52, which is associated with Lady Nada. It's a pale pink over pale pink. And this is all about unconditional love. So this is about caring for yourself as well as others from a space of love. In the challenge aspect, this is where we are being exploited for giving so freely, where we can't relax, we can't rest because we know that people are exploiting us. So we may also be feeling fragmented or empty of love. And so this particular bottle, the pale pink over the pale pink, is to help us in our process of awakening. You can use the colors during your meditation. Perhaps you want to wear some of the colors. And what it does is it brings in a consciousness of loving kindness towards yourself and also towards others. It has a very calming effect on the mind. It stimulates our concentration and our intuition as well. And it helps us to integrate a little bit more of our feminine energy. So it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, but just to incorporate and bring in the feminine aspect, the divine feminine. But ultimately, what it does is to resolve any difficulties that we may have in relation to self-love. And the affirmation associated with this bottle is, I love myself as I am. I love myself as I am. I love myself as I am. Welcome back. We're just going to integrate everything. So, in line with your eyeballs, I can't see where I am, but I'm just going to trust that I'm doing it. You can trace 2 lines down to your rib cage. So you'll see that your ribs are there, and you're going to place 2 fingers on those 2 points. If you want, you can place another finger equidistant from there, so it forms a little triangle. Once you've pressed those 3 buttons, you are going to take your fingertips to your sternum and your fingertips to your tummy, just under your sternum. And so it's a very light touch that we have over here. And as you hold, you may feel that your hands may want to float away a little bit from the body. And release. Then we're going to take our fingers in a row and place that on your forehead. One long straight line. And the other hand is floating above the head. The fingers on the forehead touches lightly. The top hand, you may feel like moving that a little bit. That's okay. And release. We've got a few words that came up that we want to just balance within the brain. So we're going to do eye rotations over here. And to do that, hold onto your ring finger and thumb, and then use your index finger and middle finger to tap behind the ears. So just if you go in line with the earlobe in the back, there's a round bone over there, the mastoid process, you're going to be tapping over there. And then we're going to do eye rotations. So the easiest way to do this, even though it's called rotations, is to imagine that you've got a big box in front of you, and you're going to look in the middle of the box, corner of the box, middle side, corner, middle, corner, middle, corner, middle, and then reverse. Corner, middle, corner, middle, corner, middle, corner, middle. And that's all while tapping. And then we're going to be repeating our words. And our first word that we have is admirable. So ring finger and thumb, and I feel admirable. 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 Okay, we want to be able to stretch the eyes as much as we can in all of those directions. Our next word is I feel in balance. And we're going to do the same thing, tapping and looking in this direction. I feel in balance, 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 I feel in balance. And so whether you said in balance or imbalance, it doesn't really matter. You may find that it may have switched between the two. We're wanting to clear those from the brain. And our final one is uncared for. I feel uncared for. It's the same thing. I feel uncared for. 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 And the brain may go like, I can't say these words anymore, and that is all okay. We are actually just wanting to get it all cleared out of the brain. So we want to confuse the brain a little bit. So when we look at whether you can sustain your energy or in relation to the goal, pendulum is not giving me any issues around that anymore. Can you rise to the challenge of the goal? Does this goal make you feel like a struggle? Is a struggle to maintain control? That one does not give me any funny business anymore. Can you see yourself completing the goal? Pendulum is going well. So our sabotage was, I am optimistic, I'm not optimistic. That was not giving me anything anymore. Occupation instead of in relation to nurturing is fine. Meek in relation to knowledge is fine. And then you each have your own goal or intention. Support or homework, things that you want to do to just take the work a little bit deeper. So the one that we have is emotional release. What does that mean for you? How can you release emotions? Um, there's a rehab center somewhere in America, and what they do is when the person gets towards the end of their time in the center, they are taken to a cliff and they have to collect small stones, and they have to have this whole big pile of small stones. And so they would then stand with a pile of stones and they would take one stone and they would tell the stone what it represents. It could be emotion or a feeling or a sensation, anything they want to let go of. And then they would throw it off the cliff. And then they would take the next stone and talk to the stone and throw it off the cliff. And so that's a really nice way to release emotions as well. So gathering up stones or things that you can use to help you, throwing them into the ocean, throwing them into a river, throwing them off a cliff, perhaps writing them all down and then burning it. Find a way that you can release your emotions. Perhaps you need to get physical. Perhaps you need to go punch a pillow. Perhaps you need to go to a punching bag, or you need to scream, go climb a mountain or something and scream it all out. Find a way that you can release your emotions, your emotional charges. And then the next piece of homework that we can do or development, is personal development. So anything that you can think of that's going to develop you personally. So whatever that means for you. So that includes your healing subscription for today. And I look forward to seeing you in the next session. Just let's lock it in to finalize. So just take your middle finger and place that behind the ears in the mastoid process and press a little bit. Take a deep breath in. And release. And that's it. I look forward to seeing you in the next session. Take care. Sending you lots of love and light.